What is one popular belief you strongly disagree with? Never second guess yourself. Always second guess yourself. You can avoid doing some really dumb crap as I have. Never second guess yourself. People with their camera on, waiting for the wasted guy to light that firecracker between his butt cheeks. Self, wait, is this a good idea? Wasted brain, no, it's a great idea. That family is more important than anyone else, and that they'll always be there for you. Not everyone is lucky enough to have a family like that. Blood is thicker than water. The actual saying is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The saying actually means that bonds that you've made by choice are more important than the people that you are bound to by the water of the womb. That's really good to know. Omitting this small section changes the meaning. Always be yourself. Sometimes you suck and need to change. Similarly, this is who I am. I'm not going to change for anyone. Good advice for hanging with friends and other people who can choose to be around you or not. Terrible advice in the workplace or other situation where the people you are with have to be there and try to tolerate you. I had a guy at my job who was like this. Period. A lot of this is who I am, they can't tell me what to do. Yes, they can. Yes, they did. No, he didn't. And, big shock, he no longer works here. That all elders should be respected. You have to earn it. You are not entitled to it by simply existing for long enough. I'd like to chime in and add that not everyone who is old is wise. Wisdom is obtained from learning from past experiences. If you haven't experienced anything or learned from it, you aren't wise. I often meet a lot of older people who seem to think that because they are old I should take their word on a lot of subjects because they think they are more wise than me. Oftentimes the only variable that implies they have more wisdom is their age. I've also gotten terrible advice from older people who seem to think their age grants them the status of a SME on a lot of topics. My grandmother was born in 1940s. She never learned to read and write and saw any education as waste of time. For her, listening to elders was a survival strategy. Elders knew which mushrooms are edible, which will kill you, and which are fun. They knew how to take care of animals and how not to attach to children. My mother's generation was educated, and frankly I find my grandmother's wisdom to be worthless. She is a relic from last millennium. Her worldview is attuned for 18th century, not 21st century. That anyone with a substantial internet following has to use their platform for good and owes people their opinion on pressing matters. I promise you the 17-year-old who's famous for lip synching doesn't have anything worthy to say about racial injustice. It can be really counterproductive / potentially harmful to have apolitical people be forced to speak on certain topics. Agreed. There are so many manufactured outrages about so and so not speaking out, and they've become so normalized. One minute it was this very popular public figure should say something because they have a platform, and the next it was I know someone from minority group with 17 Twitter followers who hasn't spoken out (TM) about their own marginalization. Time to harass and publicly shame them. Slacktivism has downsides for sure. That, insert political person name here, is looking out for what is best for, insert group of people here. I actually truly believe the Brain Slug Party is looking out for what is best for brain slugs through their plan for giving subsidies to the brain slug planet. Keeping family members in your life when they are toxic to you. As someone who is not in contact with my dad, the amount of people who've said that I should get back in contact with him because I might regret it is staggering. I shouldn't have to explain the really awful stories and reasoning for my choice to every person who learns he's not in my life. Once someone at work told me I might regret not improving my relationship with my mother, and I said, "You know what you sound like when you say that? Someone whose mother never pushed him down a flight of stairs." And I just walked away and left him looking shocked. He never gave me any unsolicited advice again. It sucks having to go this far. Just wish random people would trust that I know what's best for myself and that they know very little about my life. I've said it must be nice to have such great parents that you can't conceive of a good enough reason to not have a relationship with them. Not everyone is that lucky, and it usually gets the point across that everything happens for a reason. No bitch. Sometimes things just happen. Everything does happen for a reason, but that reason is absolutely not guaranteed to make you feel good about the bad things that happen. They aren't guaranteed to be under your control, and those reasons rarely have anything to do with the things you've done. Working hard guarantees a good life. Sometimes working hard turns out to just be hard and doesn't pay off. Working hard doesn't guarantee a good life, but being a lazy person who never gets anything done guarantees a crappy life. No, it doesn't. Some people go through life being a lazy crap and lives better than the majority of people. Yes, there are multiple ways to progress, but don't forget there is also a lot of luck involved in your circumstances. Not directed at you, but nothing rubs me the wrong way than people who refuse to admit that they also got lucky. You can also work hard and be lucky. Being fortunate that opportunities came your way doesn't invalidate your hard work. Telling someone that there are other fish in the sea when they don't want to have sex with fish they want Becky. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Most of them are actively trying to avoid you. The ones you do catch are often not worth keeping. By law, you're not allowed to keep the small ones. This is beautiful. Live, laugh, love, die, cry, hate, die, scowl, hate. The whole concept of having a soulmate is all hallmark junk. There is no one perfect person for you. Every relationship takes real work, no matter how well you mesh together. I discussed this idea at length in therapy following my divorce, because I had genuinely believed my ex was the one. My therapist shared his belief that perhaps my ex was A1, but not the one, that he believed there were tons of people who could potentially serve as satisfying life partners to a given person, but that none would be perfect, and all would be different in some respects. I've come to think he's almost certainly right. I struggled with this for a while. Romance movies and my divorced parents led me to believe I had to find the perfect person. I'm getting past that, but one thing that helped me was the quote from Richard Dawkins. How thoughtful of God to arrange matters so that wherever you happen to be born, the local religion always turns out to be the true one. And I applied that to soulmates and thought, with 7 billion people on the planet, it's amazing how many of those people meet their soulmate at the same high school they went to. They often seem to grow up in the same place. After that I kind of realized there are probably thousands of partners that would work for everyone. The do your own research crowd. Should you research into topics? Yes. But should you then ignore actual research done by real scientists because some hack told you otherwise? No. Like, use some discretion, damn it. I agree, not to mention that the do your own research crowd aren't actually doing any research. They're at the most reading other people's research. Even then, I'd bet a lot of them are just reading articles written about the actual research, which is even worse. Not to mention that their research is just them looking for things that confirm their beliefs. The customer is always right. The customer is almost always an entitled piece of crap. This is misinterpreted by dumbasses. What the original version of this is used for is about the customer being always right when it comes to the product they want. That is, you should sell what people are interested in buying. Listen to your elders. They're older and therefore wiser. I'm sorry, but I ain't taking any advice from that pensioner wearing his underpants over his trousers. That advice always comes from the elders. That everyone falls into one of two political categories. There are two kinds of people. The people who divide people into two kinds of people, and normal people. That T-Rex has tiny arms. I think they had wings that resembled the mechanics of a chicken wing. Upvoted for the mechanics of a chicken wing. That you can create your own truth. With the right personality disorder, anything is possible. I have schizophrenia, so this applies to me. That I'm going to hell simply because I'm not religious or indoctrined to a specific religion. Agnostic. I used to be religious and felt so sorry for all the good people that wouldn't enter heaven just because they didn't believe. Nowadays I'm atheist and I simply don't give it any thought, just like those people I used to feel sorry for. That Republicans are inherently bad people. Downvote the frick out of me. The vast majority aren't, and the fringe of the right is not so unlike the fringe of the left. See riots. My dad is a Republican. I just don't see the whole dumb thing. He's a Republican for the stances on financial stuff. Democracy is the end all be all of all socio-political ideologies. I'm not saying that I know of something better, but it's got tons of flaws, and just because it's the best we have right now doesn't mean we don't keep looking towards the future and other possibilities. Democracy depends on the assumption that the people are qualified to make decisions for the country, but time and time again, that has been proven false. That isn't what makes democracy and all its craftiness superior. It's the fact that mistakes can be corrected. You can get rid of those in power and replace them with different idiots. This has proven to be much less catastrophic than having fixed governments of experts who become more and more wasted on power over time. Things will get better. It's more like things could get better, or they could get a lot worse. There are times where things look really horrible, and they will pass. The problem is many terrible things won't pass. There is a part of you stuck at that moment. That's one of the remarkable things about life. It's never so bad that it can't get worse. That X country invaded Y country because they wanted to help the people there. They got oil. Gotta bring democracy. Happy wife, happy life. Needs to be happy spouse, happy house. That intelligence equals success. I've known some supposedly smart people that haven't gone anywhere in life, and some rich people who were total idiots. So many people, even on this site, they will argue with you about it, that if you are rich, you are smart, or chosen or something. I know lots of rich idiots. Rich people aren't smarter, they just have more money. Being too old to enjoy what some might consider childish hobbies like video games, or playing with Legos. The value of victim-offender narratives as a basis for collective action. Indeed, this power structures are so much more than victim-offender narratives. They're a hell of a lot more complex. Do or do not, there is no try-bish what? How the frick am I supposed to do if I don't try? The entire point of that line is to try, is not to really commit. It's about the attitude you take into a situation. In that scene, Luke was trying to use a magical power to lift a large ship out of the swamp. He didn't really believe he could do it because the ship was so big, so he said in a half-hearted way, "Alright, I'll try." He didn't actually believe he could do it, and so he was automatically going to fail. And he did. Yoda then lifted the ship out of the swamp with ease and amazed Luke. It was supposed to be a turning around moment for him. You can't go into something not believing you can do it because you'll fail. You have to fully believe and commit to it. Same thing happened with Neo in the Matrix when he was in the jump program. He tried to imagine himself doing what Morpheus did, but he didn't fully believe it. And he failed. This guy Star Wars. We are now BFFs. A man shouldn't cry. How about knowing that crying is not a sissy thing someone does? A man does not cry because he is weak. A man cries because he has been strong for too long. Hard work never hurt anyone. Like, working hard is great in a lot of ways, but people can and do end up working themselves to death over the long term. Capitalism. While certainly not perfect, it's the system that works best with human nature. This appeal to human nature is hollow. Please elaborate on what the nature of humans is to elucidate. That the world is going down the pan and we live in terrible times. I firmly believe that every generation truly believes that they are living in the end times. We are less than a blip on the radar, and I think we rationalize our existence as great by living in the belief that we have the power to stop the end of the world. The idea of if someone express a counter view, it is okay to call them a Nazi, racist, Zionist, Jewish shill, etc. as a default reply to that person. What? You mean I can't call my classmate a Holocaust denier because he thinks shrimp and pineapple go on pizza? Love yourself the way you are. Maybe the way you are is not good. Maybe you're a fat sloth. Maybe you are responsible for your mistakes in your own life. So maybe stop with love yourself the way you are bullcrap and become a person you want to love. I think forgive yourself is much more important than love yourself. I firmly believe that peace is overrated. Throughout history, violence has always achieved much more. Uncomfortable truths, man. The existence of supernatural things. Believe all women. It should be give all women the benefit of the doubt. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This is gaslighting bullcrap. What doesn't kill you gives you unhealthy coping mechanisms and a dark sense of humor. I suppose I just got gaslit into gaslighting myself for the rest of my life. Cheers. No, not every country wants to be like the US. Nobody thinks that. It's never said outright, but if you pay attention, you'll see that same idea as the undertone for a lot of beliefs commonly held in the US, especially in politics. That I need to have kids and spend the rest of my life and money raising them in order to have a happy and satisfied life. That theists are more moral than atheists. That tipping is acceptable as a practice. It isn't. I don't care if servers talk about how much money they make doing it. It's a way to frick everybody except a business owner. That's the real winner. It reduces their labor costs significantly over paying a wage. But nope, we'd rather do math and feel guilty after a meal, and servers want to prop up this system for their own short-sightedness freaking standoff crap, if you ask me. That you need to choose between a liberal education or a marketable skill set, that is trades, STEM, prof licenses. They are not mutually exclusive to each other, and they are both vital to a person's well-being in society. The marketable skills allow you to live a comfortable life, and the liberal education ensures that you have the critical thinking skills to not fall for bullcrap like MLMs, conspiracy theories, and anti-vax propaganda. Just because you are a critical thinker doesn't mean that your logic is not flawed. What is bullcrap is the narrative of the traditional university degree. Why does it make sense to put yourself in debt 200 grand at 22 years old? There are many trades that require critical thinking that do not require a liberal education. This way of thinking is in the same vein as an MLM. In my opinion, some people just don't have common sense regardless of their education. Pineapple does not belongs on pizza. Upvoted for an opinion that's against mine, but those are fighting words. The acidity of the pineapple help break the fatty savory taste of pizza. They go amazing together. That unpopular opinions are actually unpopular, or that threads asking about unpopular opinions are remotely original. Guilty as charged. That the earth is flat. It's been proven to be a sphere countless times. You think that's a popular belief? More popular than it should be. Getting up early in the morning sucks. Everyone is different. God, I don't care how much I offend you, but the fact the whole freaking planet have been convinced there is some invisible entity of some sort that controls our fate and applies our moral compass only shows how insane humans can be. It's the same reason people can be convinced to vote for Trump, or there is any logical reason to object to the vaccine. People are absolutely prone to being brainwashed. That nuclear power is bad. Nematodes are people too. Up with bubbles, down with air. The right wing's idea that traitors should prosper. Instantly downvoted by someone, for some reason. What traitors are you talking about? Insurrectionists, misinformation propagandists, foreign country collaborators with non-American valued agendas, severe corporatists, religious zealots with theocratic intentions. Should I go on? Your need to feel validated and have a sense of power over people doesn't entitle you to change proven science. You all know what I'm on about. Flat earthers, dumb. That anything requiring the labor of another can be a human right. Healthcare, housing, food, etc. None of this can be guaranteed without forced labor from others, which nobody has the right to do. Why forced? All of those things can easily be guaranteed by voluntary labor. If those things can all easily be guaranteed by voluntary labor, why are they not already in existence? Why the push to mandate them with government regulation? Even if they could be guaranteed by voluntary labor, individuals choosing to volunteer their services does not grant those services as a right to any other individual. So my original statement stands. Yes, we can and should help others. I do my part. No, others do not have a right to my help. Right-wing ideology. Same can be said about left-wing ideology. That hard work pays off. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you chop down some trees and build a beautiful log cabin that your wife takes her boss to instead of the work trip they were supposedly on. and sometimes less effort pays off more, like storing fuel in the crawl space beneath the cabin instead of carrying the drums up to the utility room, and neglecting the broken hob on the gas stove that your wife's boss likes to use to light his post-sex cigarettes. RIP my cabin. That the government is looking out for your interests. I strongly disagree with Reddit that it's okay to harass people, attack them, suppress their speech, and ban any discussion as long as they are conservative. The hypocrisy on here is sickening. Go over to /r/politics and they are defending following a woman into the bathroom to harass her, and she's in their party. Well, she needs to listen to her constituents. GTFO of here, she has 700,000 constituents. She has no reason to listen to the dumbest and most violent of them. Not to mention self-professed illegals are not constituents. I'm pretty liberal, but some of the left on Reddit freaking scares me. So often I see PPL asking for personal info on PPL to dox them and go after them. It's a weird combo of justice boners and mob mentality, incredibly toxic and fricked up. The customer is always right. The idea that circumcision is a good thing to do for a baby. Sure, it's necessary in some situations, but I don't think mutilating a baby's genitalia as a preventative measure is a good thing. Don't judge a book by its cover. If you dress up like a crap rat and cover yourself in sports brand tattoos, you are telling me exactly what opinion you want me to have. That's a choice you are making. Also working in private investigations and loss prevention, it was my job for about 8 years to judge everyone by a glance, non-racially of course, so that might also be part of it. That you need to have children to feel real love or be fulfilled in life. Chick-fil-A fries are undercooked and almost inedible. Why are they always soggy? They would be amazing if they cooked them twice as long. They have so many great sauces to dip those waffle fries in, but I just get a soggy potato instead. Money can't buy you happiness. It can buy a jet ski. Ever see a sad person on a jet ski? That the majority of humans are selfish or dumb most of the time. Even after everything seen in the pandemic, I refuse to believe most people are rude or stupid or both. Seems like everyone has lost a lot of faith in humanity already or lately, but I refuse. I think people are naturally cooperative for each other's benefit in person. I watched a vid on here the other day and I think it proves you are correct. The video is of a whale that goes to a fishing boat for help. He's got something caught on his face and fins. The first boat is unable to help, but calls another, larger boat on the radio. The second boat comes straight away and cuts the whale free. Now, the video and act are not what I'm talking about, even though it's an extreme act of kindness. No, what I'm talking about is that the whale knew to do this. How good do we have to be for a whale to think I know who will help and go and find a human? How often must we have shown mercy and helped for a different species to understand that if it finds us, we will help? Humans are awesome.